quite a mouthful when you look at all the numbers. Perhaps you could add some
insight.
insight.
Quite confusing with Redefine International PLC, Redefine Properties, and Redefine International. So, in essence, this is a transaction, hopefully, between Redefine International PLC, the UK company, and Wichford, not Redefine South Africa.
So what does it mean for Redefine South African shareholders?
Redefine South African shareholders own 57% of Redefine International Limited, which is the South African company. It's a big step for Redefine PLC, which is currently has a market cap of around about 150, 160 million pounds. It has 22% interest in Wichford, which it's had for a long time. And this will give us total control of Wichford. Wichford is invested primarily, 90% of its assets are UK government tenanted properties in the UK. And then they have one property in Germany, which is tenanted by the German municipality, and Wichford owns the International Court of Justice in The Hague. So a very high quality portfolio in terms of the tenant.
Then clearly you feel safe.
So we have a very good covenant and properties, which we know because we are the Redefine PLC is also the asset manager for Wichford. So we know the portfolio well. It is a portfolio which has seen substantial declines in the value of its properties as they were written down, but it hasn't affected the cash flows.
At this point in time, Redefine International listed on the AIM exchange. Now it's going to secure a London Stock Exchange listing. It's going to change the playing field as well.
It's going to change the playing field. We should be, after the proposed capital raising between now and 2012, it'll have a market cap of around 400 million pounds. So it becomes a medium-sized player in the UK market, and it just changes the whole profile. It also, the way we've done it, Wichford acquiring Redefine as opposed to vice versa, gives us the main board listing and also exposure to the Wichford shareholder base, which includes people like BlackRock, Schroders. So a very high quality shareholder base for future capital raising, raises the profile of Redefine International PLC and Redefine Properties in South Africa to those potential investors.
Let's look at your exposure in the UK market and Australian market. I mean, we've established that in the UK we're looking at very high quality tenants, and of course that being government predominantly, and in Australia, one of the big themes that have filtered through is the UK, the Australian, the European, the US markets haven't really recovered as well as one would hope, and there's still a lot of pressure to be had. What kind of trends are you foreseeing there? I mean, the fact that you have such a big deal like this, clearly you're obviously optimistic.
Well, look, first of all, Wichford, as I say, the covenant is exceptional because it's all government backed, or 92%, 93% of the leases are with the UK or German or International Court of Justice. So that's an exceptional covenant from a tenant point of view. As I said, Wichford is a company which has seen substantial declines, but its cash returns are such that it earns, after servicing very high debt, £9.5 million a year. It's going to cost £70 million to acquire 100%. So that's a fantastic return. And what we see in international markets, just generally, you raised Australia, is because of the distress in those markets, if you have cash, because it's hard to get gearing 50%, you can do really good deals. So for example, the fund that we've invested with in Australia, Cromwell, acquired the Qantas head office, going to be a 22-year lease, 8.75% return with a 4% per annum escalation in Australian dollars. We can't do deals like that in South Africa. So the opportunity, and you have to then say, well, how good a tenant is Qantas? In that scenario, we're happy, government backed as well. So we're seeing good opportunities in this, let's call it distressed market. Yields have moved up substantially. In Australia, if you were buying a shopping centre, you would have paid 6.5. Now you can.
What is the worst case scenario that you price in? What could go wrong?
What could go wrong in the case of the Wichford transaction? There's the government austerity program, so leases might not be renewed. But predominantly, the Wichford portfolio comprises things like job centres, receiver of revenue. It's not Department of Defence or these kind of tenants where we could see substantial cutbacks from the austerity program. And at the end of the day, when you put the two together, it becomes an extremely well-balanced portfolio because Redefine, as it is exposed to some shopping centres, 4 or 5 very good shopping centres, offices, industrial and hotels. You add this together, we've got a fantastic spread of property. So if one sector weakens a little bit, it'll be strengthened by the others.